What do you think about the state of our country today? How do you feel about the country that you worked so hard to stay free, to keep free?
The real truth?
This week, the world stopped for a moment to acknowledge the incredible achievement, heroism, and sacrifice made by the greatest generation. Of course, I'm talking about the 80th anniversary of the invasion of Normandy, the D-Day invasion that officially turned the tide of the Nazi fascist occupation of Europe. It was an incredible ceremony. It was beautiful. And so many of these great heroes of World War II who are still alive, they gave interviews, media appearances, reflecting on what happened that day. But there was one moment that really caught our eye here when one hero from Normandy reflected on where America is right now and what he fought for back then 80 years ago. Take a look at this.
When you're here with all of these brothers and people who experienced the war as you did, and also the subsequent wars in Korea and Vietnam, what do you think about the state of our country today? How do you feel about the country that you worked so hard to stay free, to keep free?
The real truth?
Yeah.
I feel like a foreigner in my own country lots of times, and I don't like it. It makes my heart real heavy. And I just hope we can pull out of this. There's too much Hollywood going on in Washington all the time. The important subjects they don't cover. So the thing is, I hope all the guys will rally up and we'll go back and straighten it all out.
I think that may be my favorite part there, Roundtable, when this guy is ready to go storm the beach again, but this time the beach of the Potomac, if necessary. Robert, I want to start with you, of course, as a spokesperson nationally for the Association of Mature American Citizens. No doubt this is reflective of your membership. And when they look at where we are in this country today compared to, well, back when they were in their heyday, enjoying the best of this country.
Yeah, well, thank you. Honestly, Larry, 31% of our members are veterans and more than 75% have a veteran in the family. So you're absolutely right. I would tell you that particular interview moves me because we are the last generation. Those of us listening, those of us who see this, who are sitting here today, we're the last generation to know the greatest generation, rightly described, in person, to have had influence on our lives. And now it's on us. We're going to have to hand that baton on with secondhand. The knowledge to others is going to be secondhand. And I cannot drive home. You've been on those beaches. I've been on those beaches, just soberly thinking about what happened. It's almost inconceivable that there were 10,400 casualties in a matter of hours, that there were 4,400 American boys who died immediately, that there were 60,000 dead by the time they got to Paris in August. It's an unbelievable sacrifice that happened at that time with incredible courage. And I think what we have to remember is to be equal to our time. And what does that mean? As that World War II vet so beautifully said, it means we have to, and as you said, in a way, we have to storm the beaches of where we are right now. We have to recognize that all those men and women who lie in graves around the world because they had the courage to defend those rights are counting on us.
Yeah, and Elaine, Job Creators Network, you're looking out for the small business owners and making sure that the conditions are correct. I mean, every single one of those vets, when they came home, that's sort of what they wanted. That was the American dream that they fought for over there. Of course, they were fighting for those ideas for Europeans, people that they've never met before. But it really does speak volumes when he reflects now on the last 8 decades of where this country has ended up in terms of policies and small businesses being able to actually start and thrive and hit that American dream.
It does. And I understand what he means when he says he feels like a foreigner in his own country. I mean, let's set aside the social and cultural issues we're dealing with boys trying to play in girls' sports. But 40% of Americans, according to Gallup, under the age of 30, view socialism favorably. And that's scary because the American dream is based on our free enterprise system, and that we are all entitled to equal opportunity, but not equal results. And we have higher education that indoctrinates our children. We watched protests going on of students across the country supporting Hamas over our greatest ally in the Middle East, in Israel. We have the lowest amount of Americans who who are extremely proud of America now at 39%. And when you break that down by party, it's 30% of Democrats and 60% of Republicans. And so that's why somebody who fought and put their life on the line like that hero feels the way he does when he sees people not proud of their country and not fighting for the things that he fought for, in his lifetime. It's got to be very saddening for him.
Yeah, it's a great point. If you think about it, his entire adult life stretches back to the Truman administration. That means the beginning, middle, and end of the Cold War. And now here we're living in a country where socialism is celebrated and embraced. Akash, let's bring you in here because there was another thing that stuck out to me. And that was, he said, Washington focuses on all the wrong things. They're wasting all their time on these things. And boy, I bet, given the fact that you engage with Capitol Hill on a regular basis, you could probably echo our hero from Normandy.
There's no question about it, right? You flip on C-SPAN or any congressional hearing, and it's Hollywood. It's exactly what he said, and we have to demand better. I think what his quote really, how it moves me, is that America is and continues to be the greatest country in the world, bar none. But no day more so than D-Day underscores why that's the case. It's not just the idea of America and the opportunity that it affords to every American, but it's the fact that there have always been Americans willing to die for those things, for every American, and for those ideas to be, spread to every single person in the world, because everyone deserves them. I think for Americans to really appreciate what that means, as Robert alluded to, is going to become more and more difficult. I mean, I'm 34 years old. I can't imagine that most people my age or younger even know what the significance of D-Day is. We're quickly approaching, Larry, the 250th anniversary of the founding of this country. I think there's no time like the present to recommit ourselves to two things. One is passing down what it means to be an American, our founding principles, what people like that hero fought for on D-Day, and how we can advance those ideals forward for the future of this country. And the second is to demand better of our representatives in Washington, who are supposed to be beholding those ideas and advancing those ideas in our seat of government. I think D-Day is a perfect reminder, and I think his words are a perfect reminder of the importance of us doing both of those things on a personal level and what we demand from our government.
Well, Robert, I'd love for you to have the final word here, because you hear, I guess we have the millennial generation, and I'm a Gen Xer here represented, and we all see the same thing from this guy. The question is, do we get melancholy and sort of shrug about it, or could possibly this focus this week on D-Day, on the Normandy invasion, on where we were and where we've gone since then? Could this be sort of a call to arms, a rejuvenation of that spirit, and we can sort of right the ship here?
Absolutely. Look, we are innately Americans.
Here, Robert. Give us something.
Yeah. So innately, Americans are optimists. And really, to boil it down to two things, that event reminds us of the American dream, those who fought for it, and the significance of history. And of course, it is the double helix, the connectivity of the American dream with our history, the fact that our history is a product of people working hard to achieve their own individual American dreams, that not only gives us an appreciation for the past, but actually inspires us to do the same thing or better in the future.
Thank you, Robert. And I'll also venture to say that the three organizations represented here today, too, Job Creators Network, Americans for Prosperity, and AMAC, you guys are also doing your best efforts right now on behalf of your membership and the people who support you to sort of get us back to that place. We recognize where we've come from and where we've ended up, and we can get back there. We absolutely can. We've seen it before. We just need to focus on all the things that made this country great in the first place. And a lot of it is still there. But boy, we are, as Ronald Reagan said, we're just one generation away from going in the exact wrong direction.